Welcome, brother. I'm JK Emezi, head coach and founder of Elevated Recovery and the Porn Reboot System. I release 4 videos a week every week, so if you enjoy this video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep getting access to them. Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome and porn addiction. Now, at Elevated Recovery, we typically work with business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, high performers, ambitious individuals who believe or who actually are among the best in their field, especially among their peer group. When working at such a high level of professional engagement, there's a lot of managing expectations involved, as well as a lot of critical judgments that I have to deal with. Often some of these clients, because of their leadership position, because of their status, in some cases because of their celebrity, can have some, frankly speaking, exhausting demands on me as a coach. And no offense if any of you guys are watching it, but y'all already know it's true because I'm direct with you. But despite that, I enjoy the challenge of working with individuals who perform at such a high level because they have very, very unique needs. Now, all of this is to say that regardless of an individual's status, how high a performer they are, their wealth, their affluence, or their celebrity, what I've learned over the years from coaching these individuals is that many of them actually feel like imposters in the things they do. Many of them feel that they are not worthy of their success. Oftentimes I'll work with these individuals, and as we start discovering the different things that they might be medicating with their out of control sexual behavior, their porn, masturbation addiction, and so on, we often hear things like they don't feel worthy enough, or that they feel insufficient, or that they are from the wrong side of the track, so that they shouldn't be here, or that they're going to be discovered one day for being this big fake or this big fraud. What they're usually good at, despite having these fears, is that they're very, very good at hiding a lot of these negative thoughts because they have to perform, they have to lead their teams, they have to be chairman of the board, they have to stand in front of the camera and smile and stand in front of the pulpit and preach, all the different things they have to do. So they've developed these skills of just putting layers and layers and layers over these negative thoughts, effectively suppressing them over time. And of course, when there's too much pressure, they end up medicating the emotions that come from this with porn, with masturbation, with orgasm, and so on. One of the points that I want to make when it comes to dealing with imposter syndrome is that this great fear that you watching this might have about being discovered for being a fraud in whatever it is that you're doing, this often leads to a symptom, which is perfectionism. Now, there are a lot of guys who struggle with perfectionism. Usually it's individuals who deal with some level of imposter syndrome. Now, this is easier for me to see as a professional in individuals who are high performers, but I've also met men who are up and coming and who are very ambitious, who also don't feel worthy of their ambition and of the things that they are striving to achieve. And this can often hold you back. You might be an individual in sales who wants to be a great salesman. You might be an individual who wants to expand his company. You have these thoughts and this belief. However, you just don't feel like you're worthy of it. And one of the ways that you compensate for this great fear of being called out, like, who the fuck do you think you are to do this? Or, I know you're a fake, bro. You're just full of shit. Whatever the case may be, this great fear forces you to be perfect. And what you're subconsciously doing is you're subconsciously trying to make sure that you will never be found out by them, whoever the fuck them is, right? We're just afraid of all these different boogeymen. The problem with perfectionism is that it is elusive. It is even subjective. It's very difficult to define, to obtain it, to get this perfectionism thing. And the unfortunate thing is because subconsciously you truly believe that perfectionism is going to save you from being caught, from being exposed for being an imposter, you end up fully committing to chasing something which is impossible. it becomes a part of your identity in many cases. Oh, I'm a perfectionist. That's me. I have to be perfect. Oh, she's a perfectionist. My daughter's a perfectionist. Our boss is a perfectionist. The salesperson is a perfectionist. Oh, my client, all these different things. But the problem is because you keep chasing this with such urgency because you are fueled by your fear, it only deepens your sense of personal isolation. Unfortunately, if you're already dealing with an out of control sexual behavior, isolation is the perfect trigger. This is where our out of control secret behaviors, which have shame and guilt, this is where they thrive. So isolation is fertile ground for all your guilt, all your shame, which in many cases has nothing to do with porn addiction. You've just created this little plot of land, so to speak, and you fertilize the soil there with isolation, and everything that's fucked up in your life begins to grow there. That critical voice inside your head that tells you you're not good enough, the thing you produced is bullshit, you're fake, all those things that voice is saying, you find a way to numb the voice because you don't have the coping skills or the strategies to deal with it. You're very good at suppressing it, at pushing it down, but sometimes the voice keeps coming up and you have no other way to deal with it than to numb it with pornography, with your out of control sexual behavior, in some cases with alcohol, drugs, and other compulsive behaviors. Unfortunately, whatever you can gain from an out of control sexual behavior only ends with an orgasm. So it doesn't last for long. And the worst part about it is that once it becomes compulsive, your porn use, your masturbation, or all the orgasms, it's only going to leave you feeling worthless. Now, one of the things we do in the Porn Reboot system is that when it comes to imposter syndrome, we teach you mindfulness. And on your own, this is a great practice to build up. You can learn how to do it, or you can learn how to do it via meditation. But there are also many great therapists out there who have their own mindful practices, and they can teach you this. However, when it comes to high-performing men to ambitious men, I found, and I've been doing this for about 10 years now, I found that most men are just not open to the mindful thing. They just find it a little bit woo-woo, mindfulness. You know, oftentimes, unfortunately, a lot of guys would much rather pop a pill or get a prescription from their doctor, from their psychiatrist, and they would much rather just like fill in the cracks in the wall of their psyche as opposed to just going to the foundation and doing the hard work that is necessary to prevent the whole thing from cracking and eventually collapsing on them. So we have different techniques within the Porn Reboot system that we use to help you work on your incessant need for perfectionism, the isolation that comes with it, imposter syndrome, and that voice in your head. We use rational emotive behavioral therapy. That has been one approach that is probably a lot more effective for the high achiever, the high performing go-getter alpha male who is hyper masculine. Rational emotive behavioral therapy is a great way, and we've got a couple of other approaches, but I digress. The point is, at the end of the day, that you could have imposter syndrome and you could be medicating it, that voice in your head, with your out of control behavior with pornography. And that's one of the many reasons why individuals get addicted to it. So if you're dealing with that and you've been visiting with a therapist and you've been trying to just work on that voice, understand that there is sometimes a very deep connection between your out of control behavior and your imposter syndrome. And one of the things we can teach you how to do is we can show you the way to rewire your brain and develop new coping strategies to handle this common but often not talked about problems. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear your comments on imposter syndrome and maybe some of your experiences with it. Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to get a copy of the free book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. You'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I've learned over a decade, as well as strategies for putting together your porn reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video. The third way is if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, guys who work in sales, consulting, or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join in the description below this video. And finally, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, you want to be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, click on the link in the description below this video that says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.